Right, let's do this.
On Afternoons with Jimmy Smith, it's time for November 1.
Yeah, it landed on our lap yesterday, didn't it, Jonah Pezzett? And then it almost lands in our lap again today, what we're going to talk about for November 1. And let's focus on the Gold Coast Titans. There's so many moving parts to this. This is a really crucial moment, especially if you are a brand new owner of the Gold Coast Titans. Like this is a crucial period. So what do we know? We know that Cameron Munster has basically said no to the Perth Bears, right? Why? Because Jonah Pezzett said no to the Melbourne Storm and said yes to Parramatta and then to Brisbane. So that means that the Bears are on the lookout for a marquee player. Then we hear that Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, and we knew about the clauses in the contract, but overnight, Dean Ritchie, writing in the Daily Telegraph, says that Tino says, you know what, I'm going to go on the market. We think it's $1.5 million a year that someone will have to pay. It's probably too high for most clubs. It may not be high for the Perth Bears if you are looking for that franchise player. So that then comes back to the Gold Coast Titans, and we're thinking about the other things at play there. Kieran Foran, he'll join the coaching staff at the Gold Coast Titans, right? Wrong. He's now going to Manly. Oh, well, Josh Hannay's locked in for the next 3 years as coach, right? Maybe. Depending on what Craig Bellamy does, we are not going to hear from Craig Bellamy until about March, April, I think it is, next year. And maybe that's the same for the Gold Coast Titans. We have to wait and see. Then you've got this situation where we know they've got a lot of good fullbacks. They've got no halfback. Jaden Campbell has gone in there and done, I think, an excellent job, proving himself to be beyond NRL quality. I think he could be quite superb if he trained more in that position. And you've always got the question of, well, you've signed Keanu Kinney at the fullback position. What do you do with AJ Brimson? He's been drafted into the England side. Where does he play? We'll have to wait and see on that one. We know that he is elite. We know that playing in the centres is probably not for him. And then you've got Dave Fafita on your books, and you don't want him on your books, but you're going to have to pay something. And obviously you want to pay as little as you possibly can, and that's going to make it challenging as well. It'll create an opportunity, but it makes it challenging. And then you had this guy in the system that you thought, oh, we think we might be able to do something with him in Carter Gordon. He's going on the spring tour for the Wallabies. And here's the other thing that jumped out at me when I looked at the player movement for the Gold Coast Titans. Remember the hullabaloo around Josiah Pahulu and the fact that Des didn't select him for one game, which would have triggered an extra, I think it was 25K on the contract, and then the Bulldogs wanted him, and then he had to stay there, and now he's going to the Melbourne Storm, and we all know how this ends, right? A shout out to you, Stefano Utoikamanu or Eliezer Katoa. But, Maestro, when we look at this, and then with no disrespect to the two players that we hear as of today, but Lachlan Ilias potentially going to the Gold Coast Titans, that via Dave Riccio, and Curtis Morin from the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Two, well, they're not franchise-shaping players, let's put it that way.
No, they are serviceable first graders at their ceiling.
I don't even know Lachlan Ilias makes the 17 for the Gold Coast Titans, if they're at full strength.
With Jaden Campbell, it's
Jaden
more
Campbell,
about
AJ
2027.
Brimson, Keanu Kinney.
That's your spine.
Sam Verrills.
Might look at the salary cap table that I've got up in front of me. There's not a whole lot around those three at the moment either.
No.
Jalen De Groot, Jojo Fafita, Cleese Haas, Zane Harrison coming to the club. Again, a guy who probably won't get in the 17 when they're at full strength. Brian Kelly's only got a year left on his deal. Like, I'll tell you what, he's got a pot of clay to mould up there, doesn't he, Scott Sattler? There's going to be a fair bit of cap room for them, particularly if Tino Fa'asuamaleaui does hit the exit door.
And this is why the uncertainty around the coach and the clause there, where Hannay, I heard Mo Fotuaika being interviewed on Cos and Heels, and he said, no, I've had my conversations with Josh Hannay. I believe he's going to be the coach. He's coached all the way through the Queensland setup. I'm comfortable with him. That's what I'm working towards. But that might be different for Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, who we talked about, well, he could go to Melbourne. He might stay at the Titans because he knows that Craig's coming. So that's why it's incredibly challenging at the moment. It might all end really well. You might have Keanu Kinney at fullback, AJ Brimson at 5'8", Jaden Campbell at halfback, and Tino Fa'asuamala-Awi in your pack. It might all be like that. And you might even have Josh Hannay as coach for a year and then Craig Bellamy as head coach or coaching coordinator or whatever. It might all work out really well. It could be horrible too, depending on, because Jaden Campbell is another one, November 1. Currently it's saying $700,000. That is below what he's, forget about what he's worth, what the market will pay.
Yes. And so I'm surprised on your opinion on Jaden Campbell. You think he can be a quality first-grade halfback on the evidence of what you've seen this season?
Yes.
Okay.
So you've got to think about how much time, how many reps,
Yes,
how many reps. Hasn't got a whole heap of reps at that, and that was probably clear earlier in the year. Later in the year, it was like, ooh, because he's got all these physical gifts. And I don't know whether he prefers, but he looks better suited to fullback.
Yes.
I could have him at 5'8" with a really strong organising halfback. And maybe that's what Josh Hannay is thinking with Lachlan Ilias. I don't know. But AJ Brimson and Jaden Campbell feels to me a lot more dangerous than Jaden Campbell and Lachlan Ilias and AJ Brimson at 14 or in the centres. And
is there any worry they're quite similar players, a lot of them?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, the one that is the organiser, you're not sure is
an organiser,
the NRL standard.
Yeah.
So that's the concern around that one. And again, I've said it for a long time about Lachie Ellis. He's a good number 14. Cover, half, 5'8", put him in at hooker. But this is a crucial time. If I'm the owners of this organisation, if I'm the Frizzels, this is a crucial time. So Sats, he's put his head up for the gig or been offered the gig, taken it, and it comes at a crucial time in the history of the franchise.